This is taken from 2 Samuel chapter 15 through parts of chapter 18, translating the storyline along with key Hebrew words. This is what it says. A conspirator who sought to self-appoint himself as king devised a conspiracy to overthrow the kingdom. With prepared vehicles and men to go before him and praise him, he would start early in the morning and speak to any man who had strife or contention. The conspirator would say to the people who had strife or contention, "You are good and right, but nobody is deputed from the king to hear you." In other words, the king is not hearing you. He's really not concerned with you. "Oh, that I were king! I would give every man justice." When any man came near to show him their allegiance, he would draw near to them and show them reverence. In this way, the conspirator that sought to make himself the king did this to the whole nation, and in this way stole the hearts of the men of the nation and of the nation. After 4 years of this, the self-appointed king sent people out to backbite and slander, and said to them, "When you hear the trumpet, you shall say, the self-appointed king is the leader now." The self-proclaimed king sent for the foolish advisor of the rightful king, who was a traitor to the rightful king, to help send the rightful king into exile. And the conspiracy was strong. Then the rightful king had to flee from office and took those close to him with him, so his capital city would not be attacked. He also took his family with him. The rightful king said to those with him that had come out from the land of the giants, "Pass over with me." And all the country wept with a loud voice. And all the people passed over with him. The rightful king passed over the torrents of destruction of the speech of the dark, mournful Blackish. And all people passed over the manner of speech. The righteous that justifies and clears from charges were joined to the rightful king, and they lifted up the covenant pledge between God and man. The rightful king said unto these, trying to clear his name, "Carry the covenant pledge between God and man back to the capital city. And if I shall find acceptance in the government of harvest, the Lord will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. But if the government of harvest says, I have no desire for you, then let the Lord do what he wills." And the rightful king said to the prophet, "Return to the capital, but do it in peace. You, prophet, and your whole prophet guild, and recompense, who is the son of the chief ruler." The rightful king said, "See, I will delay in this barren open field and make a speech until there comes word from you to certify me." So the prophet and their guild carried the covenant pledge between God and man back to the capital city, and they tarried there. And as the rightful king left weeping, someone told him that the foolish and folly-filled counselor that used to be his was among the conspirators. And when the rightful king came to the top, where he was depressed and worshiped God, his longtime friend came to meet him with his coat and his shoulder rent, and red on his head. The rightful king told him, "If you stay with me, you'll just be a burden to me. But if you return to the capital and say to the self-proclaimed leader, 'I will be your servant,' then you may defeat the counsel of the foolish and those full of folly. And whatever you hear out of the fake leader's counsel, tell it to the prophets and the priest and their guild that are there with you, and recompense, a priest's son. And by them you shall send me everything you hear. So the friend of the rightful king came into the capital city, and the self-appointed king came into the capital city. The rightful king's enemies began to curse him. When they did, some of the rightful king's supporters wanted to retaliate with physical violence because of the gift of the founders and the forefathers. But the rightful king said, "You're wounded. Let them curse me. It may be that the government of harvest will look upon my trouble and will recompense me and recover me and return me as the rightful ruler." As he went by the way, his enemies went along on the hillside and cursed him and threw stones at him and cast dirt at him. And the rightful ruler and all that were with him came weary and refreshed themselves there. The foolish and the full of folly counselor that used to be the rightful king's counselor advised the self-appointed king with very immoral counsel that would make the rightful king look bad to the people. The people listened to the foolish counselor as if his words were the words of God himself. Now the foolish counselor said to the self-appointed king, "Let me pursue the rightful king and make him afraid. In this way we will make all the people with him afraid, and they will run away from him. And I will kill only him, and I will bring all the people back to you. Then once the rightful king is gone, the people will have peace." This pleased the self-appointed king and his people. But then they asked the longtime friend of the rightful king, who was pretending to be the self-appointed king's advisor, what he would do. He advised against this. He said, "You know the rightful king and his supporters are mighty people. And right now they are angry like a bear that someone stole her cubs. Them and the rightful king are hiding out. And if you try this and your people start falling, those that follow you will get afraid." The prophets warned the rightful king of the planned attack of the foolish counselor, that he was to get ready, get to a place where he could fight. So the rightful ruler did this. Then the self-appointed king came after the rightful king to destroy him, so that his followers would quit following him. And when the rightful king came to grace and favor, something glorious happened. The captive son of the snake, of a great multitude of the nation, of those that were sold, who began to say, "My kinsman is God." They said, "No more oppression from rocky places, living in bitterness." They came and put their support with the rightful king. The rightful king numbered the people that were with him and set captains of hundreds over them. Then he set a third part of the people under the hand of the founders and forefathers, and a third part under the gift of the founders and forefathers, and a third part to seek a quarrel. The rightful king wanted to go personally into battle with his people, but the leaders said, "No, let us do it. If we run, they don't care. If half of us die, they don't care. You are worth 10,000 of us. It is better that you help and protect us outside the capital city." So the people of the rightful king went out to meet the self-appointed ruler. The battle was in the wood, the thick place of double ash heap, but will be fruitful. There was a great plague of 20,000 men, for the battle was scattered over the face of the country. The self-proclaimed king's head got caught in a network, and the founding fathers and the forefathers took 3 darts and thrust them through the mind of the self-proclaimed king. And 10 young men rallied around and beat the self-proclaimed king and slew him. And the founding fathers and the forefathers sounded a trumpet And they took the self-proclaimed king and cast him into a pit, and laid a heap of great stones upon him. And the people that followed the self-proclaimed king fled back to their homes, and the rightful ruler became king again.